And Mehdi Hasan, he just brutally mocked Piers Morgan on this TV show, and he destroyed him completely. Take a listen.
Really looks like for them.
I agree with you. He wants to prolong this war for his own personal and political reasons. Don't forget, Piers, it's not just a political situation for him staying in government, avoiding elections, leading a coalition. He's also trying to avoid legal troubles like Donald Trump. He's been indicted on multiple things. He was in the middle of a trial before he became prime minister. So all of this, dragging this out, is great for him. He also, Piers, don't forget, is counting down the days till a Trump presidency because they believe, the Israeli far right, rightly believe, they'll get an even better deal than they got from Joe Biden with Donald J. Trump. So that is a fundamental problem. But, you know, they're worried about ICC arrest warrants possibly coming out. We're hearing rumors about that. I'll believe that when I see it. But they should be worried, and he is going to drag this out as long as he can. And this is a guy who doesn't care about the hostages. I just want to go back to the central point here. Peter Lerner began his interview with you, Piers, talking about the hostages. We just learned, I don't know if your viewers are aware of this, but the Israeli press has reported that the spokesman for the families of the hostages, the guy who just quit being spokesman for the past 6 months, Chaim Rubenstein, came out and said, hey, we were told there was a deal on the table on 8th or 9th of October to get the hostages back. Netanyahu blocked it. He around to justify every crime, every atrocity. That just doesn't work. So I understand that you would say that in October or even November, but we are now in May.
But people just jump in on that.
Genocide.
Yeah, but hang on. But people didn't use that argument as vociferously when, for example, the Americans and allied forces went after ISIS.
How stupid
in places like Iraq and Syria and others. I didn't hear that argument being used so loudly. And yet there were
Well, the simple answer to that question is ISIS did not commit a genocide. Israel did. You like it?
I'm told by military people that the collateral damage of civilian deaths in those areas, Mosul and so on, was actually significantly worse than it's been in Gaza. I'm not a military expert. I'm just taking what they've told me. But my point being, why the double standard? Why when people went... Let me finish the question. Why when people went after ISIS, who were a terror group, and they killed lots of civilians, including women and children, in the process, was there not the outrage we've seen when Israel has gone after people it perceives to be terrorists?
Well, when US went after ISIS in Iraq and in Syria, they did not kill so many people like Israel did. They did not commit a genocide. They did not bomb innocent people. They actually were very, very precise. They were operating on a precision-guided operation system. Unlike Israeli, the Zionists, these monsters, they go in Gaza, everywhere they go, wherever they go, they just drop bombs. You know, whoever dies doesn't matter. So no, there is absolutely a clear distinction between what U.S. military did with ISIS and what these Zionists, these monsters, IDF terrorists, they're doing with the people of Gaza who are innocent.
There's a lot there. You asked me a question earlier that I didn't finish, and now this one. Let me try and deal with it more quickly. On ISIS, Piers, it doesn't really work, that question, on me, because I was very critical of the Obama campaign in Iraq, in Mosul. I wasn't one of those people who justified it by pointing to ISIS crimes. I've been very consistent.
Yeah, I wasn't pointing it at you. I'm saying generally the outrage wasn't as big.
But I don't think, well, first of all, the outrage wasn't as big because the American army and the US military, and I'm a big critic of the US military in the Middle East, didn't do what the Israelis have done in Gaza. Phil Clay, who served in Iraq in Mosul, award-winning novelist, wrote a big piece for The Atlantic. Your viewers can go read it. And he points out that in Mosul, when they had to kill a terrorist, if there were 8 civilians or more around, they had to run it up the entire chain of command, right to the head of Central Command. In Gaza, that doesn't happen. A local colonel or officer on the ground can kill whoever they like. Look what happened to Wells Central Kitchen, which, by the way, Colonel Lerner lied about. That wasn't a mistake. It was deliberately targeted. But we know that because they hit them in one car, then another car, then a third car. That is not a mistake. And on your question about Hamas, look, Hamas are part of whatever...
Also, if you don't know, or if you do not remember, recently, Israeli minister, he said, we are going to go to Rafah and we're going to wipe it out. We're just not going to destroy it. We're going to wipe it out. This is complete destruction. He was genocidal. But when you hear it from Piers Morgan, he doesn't want to call that statement genocidal. This is the irony. This is how hypocritical this guy. This is the,
you want to call it, a part of this equation, right? They're not going away. Israel has tried to destroy them or tried to militarily wipe them out. It hasn't worked. Has killed tens of thousands of people. But Hamas, by the way,
it might have been
recently,
just on that, Mehdi, it might have been pretty successful in killing Hamas. I mean, if you take their numbers, then they have wiped out a lot of Hamas. So, I don't necessarily believe as gospel either sets of numbers, but if you assume they've taken out a lot of Hamas, and most of the rest of Hamas are in Rafah.
Because as you pointed out just now with Learn, and I've pointed out non-stop for 6 months, just killing Hamas people doesn't end them, because you'll get more people joining up because they've seen what's happened to their families. So it's a short-term solution, not a long-term solution. But look, what is a long-term solution is peace, is freedom, is an end to persecution and occupation. Hamas, for all their many sins and crimes, came out recently and said in Istanbul to the Associated Press, we will put down our weapons, do a 5-year truce, become a political party, if we get a two-state solution on 1967 lines. Isn't it crazy, Piers? We live in a world where Hamas are more moderate, quote unquote, when it comes to a two-state solution than the Israeli government, which says no way. Netanyahu says no.
But how could anybody?
Hang
on. How could anybody try? If you're on the Israeli government, or if you live in Israel,
you don't have to trust them, Piers.
Why on earth would you
trust? How do you trust them?
Yeah, but why would you believe or trust the word they're saying?
Call their bluff. Piers, call their bluff, have a two-state solution. Then they've got no argument, right? Reagan said, don't trust, verify, right? Do it. Have a two-state solution because it's the right thing to do, because it undercuts the entire Hamas resistance argument. Have some sort of solution where Palestinians are free, whether that's 2 states, 1 equal state, whatever it is. End the occupation. The root cause of this, Piers, as you and I both know, is the lack of freedom for the Palestinian people, which has been going on for decades. That is the root cause. And right now, the issue, you said earlier, you said a word, double standards. I mean, I would be critical of your double standards, Piers. You constantly criticize Hamas for genocidal goals. And I just pointed out to you that the Israeli finance minister said this week he wanted the total annihilation of Gaza. Do you agree that's genocide?
Listen, I definitely think some of the members of that cabinet have used rhetoric which I think borders on genocidal.
Borders on genocidal. The guy, the finance minister, he said, wipe out Gaza, get rid of the complete, total annihilation of Gaza. This is not genocidal for Piers Morgan. This is border genocidal statement from the minister. Wow. This is the level of hypocrisy he has reached. This guy, he sold his soul for a few money. Piers Morgan, he sold his soul for just few bucks.
No question. But it's not as blatant.
Borders. Why not just genocidal, Piers? Why borders?
Well, OK. Look, you say it's genocidal.
I would say annihilation of Gaza.
Yeah, I would say it's deeply inflammatory rhetoric. But it's not...
Deeply inflammatory rhetoric. It's not genocidal. You are talking about total annihilation of the people of Gaza. It is deeply inflammatory rhetoric. It is not a terrorist statement. It is not a genocidal statement. It is none of those. For Piers Morgan, you clearly see the double standard from him. You clearly see this guy. He is, oh my goodness.
Quite the same as the Hamas spokesman saying on camera after October the 7th, we are going to keep doing this again and again and again. That's different.
It's much worse because the Israelis are literally doing it as we speak.
And they have a charter to get rid of it.
It's much worse, Piers.
They have a charter to eliminate Israel.
Tens of thousands of people.
Yeah, but see, my problem. Listen,
of Palestinians.
You and I, Mehdi.
Piers Morgan's journalistic integrity.
Unbelievable. This is unbelievable. Like, don't even bother watching Piers Morgan talking about this whole thing. He doesn't have any clue. He is delusional. He is hypocritical. He is anything but normal. This guy has some serious mental and heart disease that he needs to first cure himself from. This guy is a complete clown, a clown show. Anybody goes to his program, they shout, they get frustrated, they get angry at his double standard. He's been called out for his double standard over and over and over again by not just the Muslims but also the non-Muslims. Does he listen? Of course not, because he sold his soul. You're looking at a man who doesn't have anything in his heart, who can see children getting murdered, slaughtered. He would have no feeling whatsoever, nothing in his heart, nothing. But then when you talk about the Jews, the students in the US, Jew students, oh, they must be protected. When you talk about IDF, oh, they're doing the finest job. They're trying so hard to get rid of Hamas. They're working so hard. I have total sympathy for them. This guy is, I don't know, you name it. Leave a comment in the comment section. What you will call Piers Morgan? Would you call him a hypocrite? Just let me know. This is beyond belief.